Thank you all for coming. I'm a clinical nutritionist. I have a master's in nutrition. I'm also a registered nurse. And in the United States, nutritionists can be board certified, and I'm board certified. So all those little initials you see after my name, they kind of mean something. My background is working a lot with children who have neurological and developmental problems, brain injuries. And I found that most of those children have problems with their digestive systems and with detoxification. Sometimes there's a genetic abnormality that interferes with their ability to detoxify, and sometimes I think it's just a combination of poor nutrition and too many chemicals and toxins that are in their environment and getting inside their body. So for the way I view detoxification and actually human health is you can look at it kind of a macro level. You can look at the body just as an organism, but you can also look at it from a cellular level, and it's pretty similar. So for me, I think if you can almost boil it down to, if you want optimal human functioning, a simple little way to evaluate it is to say nutrients in and waste out. And so nutrients in and then waste out from the different little pathways that our body has. But it's also at a cellular level, the same thing. Nutrients have to get inside the cells for the cells to work efficiently, and the waste needs to come out of the cells. So part of what I advise my clients is to, first of all, look to their, well, I'm not sure which is first and which is second. The two big things are the diet, what comes into the body. You want to maximize nutrition and nutrients, and you want to minimize toxins and chemicals coming into the body. But you also want to make sure that all your organs of elimination are open and working properly. And so that would be elimination through the intestines, bowel movements, elimination through the kidneys, urine, and then perspiration. We actually can eliminate some of our toxins that way. So if you want the whole organism to be working well, you want to make sure that all your organs of elimination are open and working. And those are the three main ones. So anything less, in my opinion, anything less than good daily bowel elimination, I think, is showing that there's something wrong with the organism as a whole. So you want to strive for that. And then for urination, it's hard to kind of say, but several times a day, I think in general, your urine should be pale yellow, and if it's not pale yellow, you're probably dehydrated and you need to drink more water, unless you're taking some B vitamins and other supplements that can kind of color your urine. But lots of water taking in every day is one of the basic principles. There's a rough formula that I use for trying to help people determine how much water. And if you're measuring your weight in kilograms, which I think you all do over here, then approximately 3 times your weight would be an idea of how much water to take in every day in milliliters. So if you're 50 kilos, that's 3 times 1,500 milliliters. Should I do that right? Okay. Now, keeping toxins out of the body is a big challenge, I think, today. I think there are so many more chemicals and toxins in our environment today than there were even 50 years ago. Some of the chemicals and toxins are on our food. So I noticed that here at this lovely restaurant, I've never seen it before, but the wine that they serve by the glass is bio. Have any of you ever seen that before? Do you see? Here at this restaurant. Anywhere else? Are there other restaurants that you know of where they serve bio wine by the glass?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen that. You'll often find bottles of bio wine or what we would call organic wine on menu, but to actually serve it by the glass is really nice. As far as grapes go, my understanding is that they tend to be sprayed heavily. Most grapes, most wines are sprayed with pesticides. And so if you can get a bio wine, that implies that there's no pesticides that were sprayed on those grapes. So the amount of pesticides and herbicides that are sprayed on our food today is really high, really, really high. A friend told me that in Bulgaria, after communism fell away, that one of the first commercials on television was for Roundup. Roundup, and you agree, Boris? Yeah.
Yes.
Roundup is a very strong herbicide chemical manufactured by Monsanto from the U.S. So sorry, and it has a active ingredient in it called glycolate, which is very strong, and can create a lot of damage in the body. Part of what this chemical does, which is I think it's in wide use in Bulgaria, it's certainly in wide use in the US, it's in wide use in a lot of countries, is it acts as a antibiotic. It kills organisms, including the organisms in the intestines. We have a wonderful ecosystem inside of our intestines. We should have. It's like a garden. Lots of different organisms in our intestines. And they should be living in a certain kind of a balance, like a good garden would also be in balance. We may have some weeds in our gardens, but we shouldn't have too many weeds. We should have lots of good beneficial plants. And herbicides and pesticides and actually even antibiotic drugs will kill many of the good organisms that we have in our intestines. These organisms really have a lot of roles in the body. They help us to absorb nutrients from our food. They help us to detoxify, which I'm going to be talking more about, and they keep that intestinal lining intact and working well. And the intestinal lining is really, really important. If it's compromised, you can develop something called leaky gut. Leaky gut is where chemicals and toxins can leak through the lining and get into the bloodstream. So if we're trying to live a lifestyle where we're maximizing our ability to detoxify, there are several things that are important. One is to try to keep toxins out of your body. Try to buy organic food, buy non-GMO food. Beverages should also, as much as possible, be like that, like the wonderful wine that they have here. And if your water has chlorine in it, is chlorine added to the water here in Bulgaria? Yeah. Then I think it's a really good idea to take the chlorine out, try to filter it out of your water. Chlorine and fluoride, especially, fluoride is found in a lot of toothpaste, will really interfere with the body's natural ability to detoxify. So we have this wonderful system in place in our body about detoxification. As the chemicals and the various toxins come in, if it's not too large an amount, our body should be able to detoxify and eliminate it. So keeping all of these various toxins and chemicals as low as possible is very helpful. And I gave you some ideas there on the handout as to how to try to keep the chemicals low. So buying organic food is one, but also buying your personal care products, your soaps, your toothpaste, your shampoos, keeping the worst chemicals out of them is important. And I know that these two people right here are interested in trying to introduce more products to Bulgaria that have high quality products with low amount of toxins and chemicals. And that's an ongoing journey to try to keep figuring out what, makeup or shampoo or soap has the smallest amount of chemicals. But in the US, there's a lot of research that's been done about that, and there are some products that are really much better to use than others. So keep the chemicals out. Fluoride in the toothpaste really interferes with detoxification. I had an interesting client just earlier this year. She was a teenage girl, maybe like 19 or so, and she was on a very good clean diet. A lot of organic foods, filtered water, very little processed foods and sugary foods, She took some good quality supplements all the time. Her environment was quite clean. Her parents really used more natural cleaning products and personal care products and all of that. And she also had herself evaluated every year for her toxic metal load in her body. The way we do it at this particular clinic was to do a challenge with DMSA, a urine, 8-hour urine collection. I guess you don't have to know all the details. You may know what I'm talking about. But it was a special urine test to determine her toxic metal load in her body. For years, she had very low levels. It was all really quite good. When I saw her in January, they had done a test just before the appointment, and she had really elevated aluminum. And I thought, aluminum, why is her aluminum so elevated? So of course I asked the parents, what's new in this girl's life? What's been changed? Did you buy some aluminum cookware, for example? Are you now cooking out of aluminum pots and pans? No, that wasn't changed. Has she started to use a lot of antiperspirant, which contains aluminum? No, she didn't do that. Her parents said there's really nothing different. The diet's the same, the supplements are the same. They couldn't think of anything different. Did you move into a new home, a new environment? No, we're not in a new environment. So then I said, well, something has changed. There's something new since I saw you the last time. Finally, her parents remembered, her mom said, well, the only thing was we did take her to a dentist in August, and he suggested that she have a high fluoride toothpaste. And so we got the high fluoride toothpaste, and we started that in August or September. And she took that, she used that toothpaste every day until she did this urine test in December. And that was the only new thing her parents could think of. Well, one of the things with fluoride is that it increases aluminum uptake. So we do have some, and by the way, we don't want aluminum in our bodies, okay? Aluminum is one of those metals that we don't want. It can interfere with all kinds of cellular functions, and it's not a good thing. So one of the things about fluoride is that it does increase the body's ability to take up aluminum. So perhaps low levels of aluminum just in her food, perhaps occasional cookware, things like that, but she really absorbed it so much better by having the fluoride. So I suggested she stop the toothpaste, even though her dentist had said he or she thought it was important, and she did, and then they did another urine test 6 months later. Aluminum is way down, and that was the only change they made, was to stop the fluoride toothpaste, and her aluminum levels went back down again. So fluoride, I don't recommend. In the U.S., there's still some controversy. Some dentists will say fluoride is important to prevent cavities, but I think the more progressive dentists, the more modern dentists are saying no, there really is no good research to show that. So let me see, what else do we want to do? We want to, okay, so just keeping the toxins out is one thing. Natural cleaning supplies in your home and things like that. But now we're still going to get chemicals and toxins in our body. We're going to still get them. Even if you eat 100% bio or bio food and you're so careful about your personal care products and everything else, there's just heavy metals and toxins in the air that we breathe. And some of it will still be even in the soil. So there will be chemicals and toxins still coming into our bodies, and we want to support the body's natural ability to detoxify, to remove them from the body. And in order to do that, there are lots of really good techniques, but the first one is to eat really good quality food. Your liver is your major detoxifying organ. Kidneys are also important. They need to be fed. All tissues, all cells of your body need to be fed. They need specific nutrients to do their job. So the liver needs to be fed. And the cells need to be fed. The cells are holding on to certain chemicals and toxins. They make their own waste that they want to get rid of, but they also absorb and hold on to some of the other toxins that are coming into the body. For the cells to do a good job and function optimally, they need to be fed. Good nutrients have to come in, and then they can start pushing the waste out. So a good quality diet with diversity of foods, I think a lot of vegetables, a lot of vegetables. It's really hard to overdose on vegetables. Just keep eating vegetables. In fact, my son, when he first made my first website years ago, I kept bugging him, make my website, please, make my website. I had my name all chosen, Health Basics. That was going to be the name of it. The basics of good health. It's just simple. So I had the name chosen, I got the name all signed up and all, but there's still no website. So finally one day he sends me an email. He says, okay, Mom, your website's up. Just type in healthbasics.net and it will come up. So I'm so excited. I type it in, and here what I see is a black background, and then in big green letters it says, eat more vegetables. That was it. That was the whole website. Well, it's gotten a little bit better now in the years since. But I guess he heard me say eat more vegetables for over the years, and then of course the green vegetables have a reputation for having a lot of nutrients, so he made the color of the ink green. Okay, so lots of vegetables. And then I'm a big fan of really good quality fats and oils. I think most of us, almost all of us, are not getting in the fats and oils that we need to get in. And I think for a lot of years, certainly in the States, I think here probably in Bulgaria too, people were getting the message to not eat very much fat because it would increase your cholesterol and make you more likely to have heart disease. And that really seems to have been disproven a long time ago, I think. So fats and oils are very important. Every cell in your body has a membrane around it that is made up primarily of fats or oils. Your hormones are made up primarily of fats and oils. Your brain, next to water, the second most common component of the brain is fat or oil. So I think for our bodies to really work well, we do need a lot. But they need to be high quality fats, not the kind of fats and oils that are in processed foods. Processed foods, not good. So I gave you a list of some of my favorites here. Avocados, I think, are very good. Coconut oil, I'm a big fan of coconut oil. Coconut oil. And maybe even medium, sometimes it's called MCT oil, or medium chain triglyceride oil, which is derived from coconut oil. Really good fuel for the brain. Coconut itself, the food, has a lot of good oil in it, so coconut. And then nuts and seeds, or the oils that are derived from nuts and seeds, but minimally refined. So this can be kind of tricky. I think that when you go into the average grocery store and you buy a bottle of oil, like sunflower oil. Now I know you have a lot of sunflowers here in Bulgaria. I don't know that much about how they're produced. There might be some companies that are producing a really nice quality, yes, unrefined, one company, someone says there, okay. But most of the oil that is in the grocery stores here, I think, as well as in the United States and a lot of other countries, have been refined and processed so much that a lot of the good properties of that oil are gone. And in fact, there may even be some chemicals that are in there. So buying your oils in a bio store or buying organic fats and oils, I think, is really important. Eggs from pastured eggs. That means eggs from chickens who are running around outside, roaming around outside, eating insects and grass and the things that they're supposed to eat. That chicken will be nourished the right way, and then the eggs that chicken produces will be high quality eggs. And there are some really good fats and oils in the egg yolks. So that's very good. And dairy. How could I forget dairy here in Bulgaria with your wonderful yogurt that you have here. But specifically I'm talking about raw dairy. Raw dairy is the term that that we use in the States, which means unpasteurized and unhomogenized, and from grass-fed cows. So this is kind of old-fashioned dairy farming, and you do have several farms here in Bulgaria that are doing it that way, and we visited one a few weeks ago, Elata, is that the name of it? Elata, Farm Elata. And this family that's living there has about, how many cows? 15, 18 cows, I think. And they started with one, and they're growing it up, growing up their herd. But they are taking this wonderful milk from these grass-fed cows who are not being exposed to any hormones or any antibiotics. They're outside eating all various kinds of grasses, and they're taking this wonderful raw milk and then making butter out of it, and yogurt, and cheese. The fat content of this kind of milk is totally different than the fat content of the milk products that, again, you would buy in a grocery store and that are coming from big factory farms. Again, in Bulgaria, I'm not sure what the bigger dairy industry is like, but in the US, we call them factory farms. The cows are kept indoors all day long. They're fed grain instead of grass, and that's a big difference. What you eat changes your tissues, and in the case of cows, the milk that they're putting out has a totally different chemical composition if they're fed grass compared to grain. Same thing with cows for beef, for meat. If you have cattle that you're raising the cows to use the meat, totally different composition if those cows are outside eating grass versus inside being fed grains. So grass-fed cows that produce good milk, and then the butter and the yogurt and the cheeses that are made from that, really good fats are in there. And then meats also from those kind of animals that were raised properly, kept outdoors. I might also mention Himalayan salt or French Celtic salt. I didn't write this down in the paper, but the salt that most people eat today is white, highly refined. All the minerals pretty much have been stripped out of it. The only thing that's left is sodium and chloride. But if you can get an unrefined salt like Himalayan or French Celtic salt, first of all, you'll see that those salts have color to them. The Himalayan is pink, and the French salt, the Celtic salt, is gray. The color in those salts is representative of the minerals that are in there. Lots of trace minerals in there. So this is another food product that's a whole food. Has a lot of nutrients in it that the more modern, highly refined food doesn't have. So another good thing to have into your diet. So look, just paying attention to your diet. Where do you buy your food? Where do you get your food from? How is that food raised? Whether it's a plant or an animal, makes a tremendous amount of difference in the amount of nutrients, the vitamins and the minerals and the fats that are in that food. And your cells are just so hungry and so thirsty for these nutrients that I think it's every time you eat a really good healthy meal, I think your cells are going, oh, thank you, you just fed us properly. So we got to think about this. Okay, so when you take a lot of nutrients in, you are going to help your cells work more efficiently, and that includes helping them to detoxify, which is this natural cellular process. There are some other ways you can kind of help that along, though, and that's by eating foods that are high in sulfur, for example. The detoxification pathways in the liver require a lot of sulfur in order to do their job well. So I give you a list here of some of the foods that are high in sulfur, and those are really good superfoods. Epsom salt baths. Do you all know what I mean if I say Epsom salt? Is that familiar to you at all? No, a little bit. Well, we call it Epsom salt in the States, but what it really is magnesium sulfate. It's a salt. It's two minerals bound together, And in the States, you can buy this very easily in any drugstore, grocery store, discount store. It's available in Bulgaria, but I'm not sure how easy it is to get it. I know you can buy it online, and I do give you a couple of websites where you can buy it online and it can be delivered to you. This is a salt that you put into bath water, and then you soak in it. The purpose is to absorb through your skin the magnesium and the sulfur. And magnesium is also a mineral that I think is in short supply in a lot of our bodies. It does help with detoxification. It helps with a lot of cellular functions. And when you put Epsom salt in your bath water and then just soak in it, you will absorb very effectively magnesium and sulfur through your skin. And this is really helpful for detoxification. It's the primary way that I ask I ask the parents of the children to help their children with their detoxification. It's very gentle and yet it's very effective. It's something that all of us can do. Just soak in the bath, read a good book, listen to some music, have your partner read you love poetry, I don't care, whatever you want to do, but relax in the bath and absorb your magnesium and sulfur. It's a great habit to just incorporate into your life. Saunas are really good too. A regular sauna will encourage sweating and perspiration, and in general that's a good way to help your body eliminate toxins. So saunas are very good, but a far infrared sauna, if you can get one of those, is even more effective. The light that is in the light inside the sauna has a frequency, far infrared, that can penetrate the cells of the body, can penetrate the tissues of the body and get into the cells, and it warms up the inside of the body even more effectively than a regular sauna. And that supports detoxification. Heat helps the cells to get rid of toxins. So that's really good. And then just movement. We're designed to move way more than we are moving today. So any type of just moving, sitting. Oh, I should have told you all to stand, because by sitting like this all this time, you probably just slow down your cellular processes. So moving around as much as you can, standing, and anything you want to do, it just move, supports circulation and helps again with the detoxification pathways. And then cilantro was another, cilantro or coriander, some of you know, it's a little green herb. It looks a lot like parsley, but it tastes different. And this herb has an ability to bind or chelate with heavy metals, and then you can eliminate them. So that's a wonderful herb, if you like the taste, to just incorporate into your diet on a frequent basis. Now there are also other very structured supplements programs that you can take to support detoxification. And depending upon the individual, I think that can be very, very helpful. If you don't feel as though you have compromised health in any way, simply following these other lifestyle suggestions may be all that you need to do. But if you feel that you maybe have a toxicity issue, you've been tested, or because of your history you think you've been exposed to a lot of chemicals, there are specific supplements that you could purchase, hopefully from a qualified practitioner, and you can take these products for a period of time, which would be a more intense detoxification program. So I think that's all I have to say now, and wonder if any of you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you would have.
What would you recommend for these detoxifying baths if you don't have a bath? What can you do instead?
Foot baths. Actually, we absorb well through the soles of our feet, and so just any kind of a little pail or bucket, and you can put it in there and sit there. I know I know a couple of families where they've made a kind of a routine of their evening meal. Everybody sits with their little bucket and soaks their feet. I think that's just lovely. But it's effective also. Not as effective because the surface area is so much smaller and your feet you can absorb as well, but it still is helpful.
Have you ever heard of any spas or any places like that that are offering this alongside all the other things like massage and sauna?
Not Epsom salt specifically, but I am heading to a spa in 2 days. I'm going to Spain, and I picked a spa that has warm thermal waters that are high in sulfur. And so, Bulgaria is a country with lots of thermal springs. I think I read somewhere that you maybe have more in Bulgaria than any other European country. And when you investigate the mineral content of these springs, you'll see that the local hotels or communities are very proud about the mineral content. And they've analyzed it, and they know that some springs are higher in calcium, and some springs are higher in sulfur, and some are higher in magnesium. And they're all wonderful, but sulfur, I think, has the reputation for assisting with detoxification more than other. But when you go to these spas, I know Germany has a lot of them also, and you soak in the water, you absorb the minerals through your skin. We absorb very well through our skin. So that's one of the reasons why we should be careful about what we put on our skin. Some people will say we shouldn't put anything on our skin that we wouldn't be willing to eat. So think about that with your makeup and your lotions and all of those things. Yes?
I have 2 questions. The first one is about the water.
Oh.
I heard that Japanese tend to drink warm water in the morning in order to detoxify their bodies. So what do you think about that?
I think warm water with lemon added, with some fresh lemon juice added, is very good. The temperature in general of our liquids, ideally they would be warm, or at least room temperature. As soon as we swallow something, it's going down into our stomach, and our stomach, the temperature there is very warm. Like, I guess it's 37, and your body temperature is 37 here, right? Yeah, we do Fahrenheit in the States. So the inside of your stomach is at least 37 degrees, if not 38 degrees. And that temperature is the ideal temperature for your body to digest food, so that when you then go and eat food, it's going to sit there in the stomach for a while, and there's a couple of enzymes and the hydrochloric acid, which is going to help to digest your food. It's going to work best in that warm temperature. If you drink ice water or iced beverages, it's really kind of a jolt to the body. If you drink something icy when you're eating food, you will compromise your ability to digest. So anything that's warm is going to be supportive of your body's physiology. And lemon juice added to your water first thing in the morning is said to help your liver and your bile to work better and to help detoxify and help eliminate bile. So that was one.
And the second question is about the myth of the yolks. How many yolks are fine for a healthy person per week?
I think there's no number.
Okay.
I think there's no number. One of the doctors that I work with, who's very, very big on nutrition, has been for a number of years. She and her partner, well, first of all, they have their own chickens, but she said on average they each eat 6 eggs a day, and that's the whole egg with the yolk. Yeah, 6 eggs a day. But these are eggs coming from properly raised chickens, and that makes a lot of difference. Yeah.
Thanks.
And how about vitamin D? We're starting to hear more about it.
Yeah, well, again, in the States, we find a lot of people are low in vitamin D. I'm not sure what it's like here in Bulgaria, but the blood test that we use is 25 hydroxy vitamin D, and that seems to really give a pretty good reflection of your cellular vitamin D level. And I think from all the blood tests that I look at, and I listen to my colleagues and what they say, I think it sounds like maybe 75% of the population in the US is really low in vitamin D. So it used to be, I think, that we could all produce enough vitamin D through our skin by being out in the sunshine. Vitamin D is called the sunshine vitamin. It's not really a vitamin, but we call it that. And we should be able to make enough vitamin D through our skin, but we're not doing it. Either we're not outside enough, or we're not outside enough with our skin exposed, or we're wearing, sunblock or even just lotions. But I think also, even if you don't have anything on your skin and you're outside a lot, I think the pollution in the atmosphere is compromising our ability to make vitamin D. That just seems to be a good guess, I think. So if you have a blood test done, I think that's one of the blood tests that is really quite accurate. And the range that in the United States, with the more natural or progressive doctors, the range that we think is optimal is different, and it's higher than what the lab reference range will be. So if you get your lab report back and it has a reference range, and let's say it's different from lab to lab, but let's say it says 30 to 100 is fine, and you're 30 or 32 or 35, I would say that's too low. But it's hard to be more precise than that. You have to really look at the lab and what kind of test. So taking a vitamin D supplement is something that I think many of us would benefit from. It's hard to get it through food, actually. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much for coming here, and if you do have any other questions, I'll be around for a while. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.